Welcome to Wargroove. I'm going to tell you everything you want to know about the Groove of War Tournament 5, including the $1,000 prize pool, how to enter, it's free by the way, what the rules are, and how the whole thing works. Let's get right into it, but first, let's talk about that $1,000 prize pool. Okay, so first place will get $400, including the usual custom Discord emote, which is very sweet, very prestigious. Can you imagine a Sneaky Dragon custom emote on the Discord? That would be amazing. But $400, that's insane! Second place $250, third place $150, fourth place $100. Last year's fourth place winner, I think this was their first Groove of War tournament they had entered. I mean, don't get me wrong, top-notch player, modder, they beat me in a game, no question they were good. But, you know, don't be afraid to enter thinking, I'll never do that. You could totally do that. This is achievable. And even in 7th place, there are 2 people in 7th place, each get $15, so you could win a prize if you could just make it in the top 8. But don't get me wrong, this is the most prestigious Wargroove tournament in the world. It's not impossible to win, but it's not going to be easy. We're hoping that there's some big names entering this year, but more into that later. Let's talk about how to enter. The eligibility requirements for the tournament, what you need to do to compete, it's so simple. You just have to join the Groove of War Discord and not be banned. Actually, it doesn't even say here you have to join, but I would recommend it so that you can get the announcements, otherwise it would be kind of difficult. Anyway, you can't be banned from the Groove of War Discord or the official Wargroove Discord. If you're banned in either one, it's a no-go. But like most folks, I'm not, so I could totally enter and there's no cost. Why would you not? Let's play some Wargroove. But what are the rules, and how is this tournament structured? Alright, so the tournament always opens up with Swiss brackets. A Swiss bracket means you're not eliminated if you lose. Instead, you have a chance to play against a lot of different opponents, and you just need enough wins and not too many losses to make it to the next round. You have to be one of the best people in your region. It's separated by time zone to make it super easy and convenient for everybody. There's the Europe time zone, the Asia-Oceania time zone, the East America time zone, and the West America time zone. I know, that's a lot of America there. But they're trying to aim towards the player base while not making it too crazy for the admins. By the way, speaking of admins, I haven't explained what the Groove of War is. Really quick, in case you don't already know, the Groove of War is the group of folks that run all of competitive Wargroove. That's right, the Groove of War is the place for competitive Wargroove. I know of no place more official or prestigious. They even have prizes donated from Chucklefish from time to time. Highly recommend joining the Groove of War Discord. That link will be in the description below. Also, the link for this rules page will also be in the description of the video, so you can go right in and sign up if you want. Alright, we were talking about the Swiss rounds. So, like I was saying, you play against a bunch of different opponents and try to get the most wins in your region. For example, let's say you're in the Europe time zone. You'll be paired up against everybody else, not necessarily people who live in Europe, but people who are available to play in that time zone, and try to beat as many as you can. Now, each week, you'll play twice, at 7 p.m. on Friday and Monday. Each round takes place twice per week, so you'll play twice each week. The matches will be determined by the tournament organizers. You'll find out ahead of time who you're playing against, and they'll message you the top secret code for your match. Now, round 1 will be played on a map called Open Season. Well, if you've never heard of Open Season, don't worry. Just scroll down and you can see a picture of the map, as well as the code you need to download Open Season in the game. Now, keep in mind, the map makers and testers work very hard to make sure the maps are up to snuff, but occasionally a bug sneaks in. If they need to fix a map for any reason, there'll be a notification on the Wargroove Discord, the Groove of War Discord, so make sure you join and check for notifications, in case they have to update a map, and then make sure you download the right copy. So week 1 is going to be Open Season. You'll fight 2 opponents, it looks like. Try to get as many wins as you can. But even if you lose both, you're not out yet. You could still win in the next round, because it's Swiss. So then, round 2, it's Headland to Deadland. Round 3, Safe Haven. Round 4, Dendritek. So you'll be able to play at least 2 games on each of these 4 maps over the course of 4 weeks. Now, if there are enough players, the tournament might go on for more than 4 weeks, in which case new maps will be added and announced on the Groove of War Discord. Since these maps will have to be tested and vetted, they're probably not going to tell us what they are for a little while going forward, but we might find out soon. In any case, since those are over a month away, you definitely want to start practicing these 4 maps and take a look at them. Alright, so how does this work? And by the way, make sure to read the rules very carefully, especially in case there's an update. So before a match, you're going to flip a coin, and then one person will be player A, the other person will be player B. Then you get to pick and ban commanders. Now, Yoda, you know, the dashing general, is banned by default. Not allowed in the entire tournament. That might surprise some of you, but believe it or not, Yoda is actually really powerful at high-level play. And the community has all agreed he should be banned. But everybody else is opened. However, you have a chance to ban them. Each player will privately message an admin or referee assigned to the match. And you're going to tell them 4 additional commanders you want banned. You don't get to see what the other person is banning until you're finished. So both players give 4 top secret bans. Like, for example, I could ban all of Cherrystone. I could ban Caesar, Mercia, Emmerich, and Merciful, and just get rid of all of Cherrystone if I wanted. Then neither of us could pick those commanders. But I don't know what my opponent is banning. So up to 9 commanders theoretically could be banned, but there will be at least 5. So then once the bans are done, whoever's player A, the person who won the coin toss, will pick a commander on the player 1 side and select ready. They're not allowed to change their commander for the match after readying, so they're locked in. So if you win the coin flip, you're automatically player A, which means you're automatically player 1, and you have to pick your commander first. And now, they might change that. I'm not sure if they're going to change that. It used to be that you could pick player A or player B if you win the coin toss. But now you're just automatically player A and P1. That might get changed, so we'll keep an eye on that. I have a feeling they're going to change it. I have a feeling it's going to be if you win the coin toss, you can pick player A or player B. But in any case, just read the rules carefully over the next few weeks. So then going forward, basically one person will pick a side and ready their commander. And then the other person, probably who didn't get to pick their side, will get to counterpick commander. So maybe, alright, you got to be player 1 if you wanted, and you're playing, I don't know, Ragna, but I know who's good against Ragna, so I'm going to pick that person, even though I'm stuck with player 2, which is not what I wanted. And this is just an example. Player 2 might be better on some maps. Or they might be the same. Ideally, they're the same. Like, the map testers worked very hard to make sure P1 and P2 were balanced. Alright, so then you start the match, you play, and then you switch sides and repeat the process. Oh, okay, that's why you don't get to pick. So basically, you switch sides, and now the other person is player 1, and then you get to counterpick them, so it's fair. Right, that's why they don't let you choose. So whoever wins the coin toss, I'm sorry. Let me redo this. Alright, so before a match, each player flips a coin, and that's used to determine who's player A and player B. Now, after you flip the coin, the bans happen. Yoda is banned by default. Everybody agrees Yoda is way too powerful in high-level play. Yoda is permanently banned. Additionally, each player can message the referee with 4 bans. 4 people you would like banned. And then, your opponent will do the same. You don't get to see what your opponent banned until all the bans are in. So, up to 9 commanders could be banned, or maybe only 5 if you both ban the same thing without realizing it. Once the bans are done, nobody is allowed to play anybody who was banned in that game. So Yoda's banned, and 4 to 8 other commanders are banned. Then what happens is player A will pick a commander on the player 1 side and select ready. They're not allowed to change their commander after readying. Then player B will be player 2 and counterpick commander. So player B gets to see who player A picked, before picking their commander. That's pretty good. It might sound like an advantage, but the next match, the players switch sides and repeat the process, meaning now player B is player 1, and they have to pick first, and player A is player 2, and they can counterpick commander. So both players will have the chance to do both things. Alright, so that's the Swiss rounds. That's how the Swiss rounds work. If you make it out of the Swiss rounds, you'll end up in the top 16 or top 8. I'm not sure which yet. Reading this, it doesn't sound like they've decided yet. But if you make it to either the top 16 or the top 8, you're not in Swiss anymore. The rules are a little bit different. So when you get out of Swiss, here's how it works. Players will flip a coin, and then there's player A and player B. As usual, the winner of the coin toss is player A. But now there's a map banning phase. Because remember, the maps are only fixed for the Swiss rounds. When you get out of the Swiss rounds, the players can pick and ban maps. So player B bans 2 maps from the pool, and then player A gets to select a map. Then we do commander bans, same as before. Yoda is banned. Both players privately tell the ref which 4 commanders they want banned off. But now it changes. Player B can choose if they want to be player 1 or player 2. Then they select their commander and ready. They're not allowed to change their commander after readying. So this is different than before. This is different in the Swiss rounds, where you were automatically player 1 and then automatically player 2. Now, player B gets to pick their position. And player A counterpicks and fills the other position. Then what happens is the loser of the match gets to decide whether they want to be player A or player B. And we go through the whole thing again. New map bans, new commander bans. We pick, we ready, we do the game. Now we repeat the process until the set is complete. It doesn't say how long the set is. It might be best of 3, it might be best of 5, we don't know, it hasn't been announced yet, but the rules will most assuredly be updated once it's announced. Okay, let's read these additional rules on the side here because they're super important. There's some new stuff this year, guys. There's some new stuff you need to know about. Alright, so there's a 45-minute chess timer for all matches. That's important. It was 30 last tournament. This one, it's 45. So it's a little bit longer. Players must stay in the match from start to finish without exiting the match list screen. If you do that, it will result in a loss. And they encourage players to record their own matches to help keep track of this. Remember, even if you're playing fair, your opponent probably will. I've never seen anybody try to cheat this yet. But if you record the match, you can prove how long things took and verify that nobody's, doing something untowards. Although, of course, with animations and stuff, it could take longer, but you get the idea. Alright, map setting is all pretty standard, but let's talk about forfeits. In the event that a player ends 2 turns in a row without taking an action, that player forfeits the match. So this is really big. This is really big. That means if you end your turn without doing anything, twice in a row, you lose. Now, it's not clear here if it says for the entire game you do it twice, or it has to be 2 consecutive turns. I'll probably ask for clarification on that. But either way, you probably want to avoid doing that in general. Taking an action is moving a unit, purchasing a unit, attacking an enemy, capturing a building, loading a unit, unloading a unit, using an ability, using a groove. You get the idea. Doing literally anything. So try to make sure you do something every turn. The reason this rule exists is to prevent people from cheating the clock, basically. Alright, sudden death. In the event that both players have under 30 seconds remaining on the clock, the game will enter sudden death. The income measured at the beginning of each player's final turn will be used to determine a winner instead of timeout. So what that means is if both players have under 30 seconds, the winner will be determined by whoever has the most income. And in the event that that's equal, army value at the start of each player's turn, each player's last turn, will be used instead. So that means that if it's sudden death on your turn, it's the army value of your opponent before you killed anything. Whoa. In the event the army value is equal, the person who timed out will receive the match loss. Alright, with the increase in the time allotted and improvements to map, we expect this rule only to be used in extremely rare cases. So we're playing on a 45-minute timer now. Timeouts should be rare. This shouldn't happen. But if it does, it'll be the player with the most income probably will win. The income measured at the beginning of each player's final turn. Okay, so if I go under 30, it's the income at the beginning of my turn. And if my opponent goes under 30, then it'll be the beginning of the turn in which they went under 30. Got it. Okay, that's interesting. I have to think about that. Alright, so we've gone over everything. Time frame wise, it'll probably last realistically 4 to 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks if we get a lot of players. I think the previous tournament definitely had more than 16 people. I think we were looking at like 40 plus people. And now with a prize pool of $1,000, this could easily last, the Swiss rounds could easily last 6 weeks or more. So, you know, it'll be a long tournament. It'll be a long tournament. But it'll definitely be fun, it'll definitely be worth it, and we're going to see some of the best Wargroove play in the world. It looks like the top 4 from each region will enter the single elimination brackets. To determine the top 2 progressing from each region to the next round. Okay, so unless this changes, there's going to be a top 16 showdown to determine the top 8. So regional playoffs and global top 8 will be the top 16. So it sounds like they're going for top 16 will use the map ban rules, and Swiss will determine the top 16. Okay, so 4 players from each region, it looks like, unless the tournament gets even bigger. So all you have to do to get into the elimination rounds is be one of the top 4 people in your region. I really, really, really hope that my region does not have Zeronics and Red Champs. That's Space That'll be interesting. There are certain players that are scary. It'll be interesting to see if a lot of them end up in one region. I hope that doesn't happen. Okay, well, we've gone over just about everything in these rules. But remember, they're subject to change. They're subject to updates. Join the Groove of War Discord so you can get announcements. Click on the link in the description and sign up on this page. You totally want to join, don't you? This tournament's going to be insane. And one more thing, most important thing, but there's some heavy hitters this year. Some folks from last year have gotten even better. I'll be honest. I would be an underdog victory. But I'm going to go for it, guys. I'm going to go for it and try to be the #1 Wargroove player. If you're not entering the tournament, I recommend entering. But if you're still not entering, feel free to root for the Sneaky Dragon. The Groove of War tournament will be streamed, usually by some really awesome streamers, and you can find out who, where else, on the Groove of War Discord. So what are you waiting for? That's enough for this video. Questions and comments in the description, in the comments, whatever. Join already, and welcome to Wargroove.